hope to rise from the dust of earth, the songs of nature giving praise to Father Spirit, living word. Be above me as high as the noonday sun, be below me the rock I set my feet upon, be beside me the wind on my left and right, be behind me, oh circle me with your truth and light. La da 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 da, 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 la da 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 da. I bind unto myself today the gift to call on the Trinity. My shepherd, he leads me with nothing to want, and he leads me along with his staff and his rod. He is here to comfort my fears. Though I walk through the valley, I walk with his hand in mine. Thought I passed my last breath in the shadows of death, but I'm still here, safe on the other side. Cool in the grasses I lie, here with my Lord, who gently restores. He's the shepherd of love. There's a table laid out before me. There's a cup in which joy overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life. Here with the waters beside, cool in the grasses I lie. Here with my Lord, who gently restores and leads me back here
and there is nothing to fear, nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear, nothing to fear, for I am with you always. In the depths of your sorrow, I wept beside you. When you walked through the shadow, I drew you near. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, always the same. I am the Lord. I am the Lord, and there is nothing to fear, nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear, nothing to fear, for I am with you always, and there is nothing to fear, nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear, nothing to fear, for I am with you always. What can separate you from my perfect love? What can separate you from my perfect love? What can separate you from my perfect love? Do not fear. Do not fear. Do not fear.
Let's just hold the power of that song as we gather this day, and that invitation to not fear, that invitation to stand in this place of holiness and to trust that we're held. However you've come this day, this place is where we come to be fed together in the presence of the Holy One, and the Holy One's already here. All we got to do is show up. Welcome. Welcome to this place, to this Welcome Back Sunday. I'm Reverend Beth, and just really thrilled to have you here in this space. And for those who are joining us through our live stream ministry, it's good to be together. We are here on the traditional and unceded territories of the Musqueam, the Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples, and many in our midst are wearing orange shirts today in anticipation of Orange Shirt Day on Friday, the day for truth and reconciliation, as a small gesture of showing our commitment to that journey towards reconciliation with Canada's Indigenous peoples. If you are here in this place, a warm welcome to join us for our Welcome Back barbecue, which is a great time to learn about all that's happening in the community this fall, but also just a really fabulous time to eat together, which we haven't done in a really long time. So looking forward to that. We call it Welcome Back Sunday, and we hope that it means that the welcome that's here each week is particularly felt this day, and that you know there's a place for you here. And so we thought really to start things off right, we'd do our very best to get you dancing in your seats. You're gonna wanna stand up for this one.
In my wrestling and in my doubts, in my failures, you won't walk out. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are the peace in my troubled sea. In the silence you won't let go. In the questions your truth will hold. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are the peace in my troubled sea. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Safe to shore, safe to shore, safe to shore. I won't fear what tomorrow brings. With each morning I'll rise and sing. My God's love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are my light, my lighthouse, shining in the darkness. I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Safe to shore, safe to shore, safe to shore. Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storm. Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storm. Hey! Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storm. Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storm. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore, safe to shore, safe to shore, safe to shore.
It's a song like that when my Baptist roots betray me, because I don't know how to dance, and I know there are great dancers in this congregation, so I hope to learn over time. It's Welcome Back Sunday, and a big welcome back to our families as well, and we'd like to welcome any kids here, any youth here, to come right up to the front and gather around the Christ candle. You can sit along the ledge here, come right into the center, if you will, or down in front of the candle. And as they're making their way forward, I want to let you know that as part of our Welcome Back Sunday, we're also holding open houses in our 2 Sunday school classrooms for the elementary age kids. The meadow is up in the fireside room, and the forest is downstairs in the youth room. And if you're ever curious about what stories we teach or what the flow of a morning is like for these kids, they have serious work of their own that they do. And we'd love to share with you what it is that happens in those classrooms. So whether you have kids or not, you are so welcome to join us for the open houses that will follow immediately after the service. We'll be open for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then we'll start to pack up the classrooms. All right, what a wonderful group of kids here this morning. And these orange shirts that so many people are wearing tell a story. It's a sad story. It's a story about things being taken away. About a time before your time when Indigenous children in Canada were forced to attend government and church-run schools. And some of the things that were taken away from them were favorite pieces of clothing, some of their favorite things they liked to wear, or maybe a favorite toy that they had brought, hoping to keep with them at the school. Their language was taken away. Their families were taken away. Their spiritual traditions and cultural practices were taken away, kind of what would be their equivalent of church. What's left? It's a very sad story. But there's a hopeful part to the story. You want to hear the hopeful part? The hopeful part is that the story's not over yet. Because these orange shirts, they also tell about giving things back. Things like dignity, things like language, things like cultural practices, maybe even toys and special clothes. And if we do our work well, possibly even maybe over time, trust can be given back. And the neat thing is that that's the part of the story that you guys are a part of, the giving back part of the story. So you live in very hopeful times. Has anyone ever told you that you live in the best of times? I hope you hear that often, because you do live in the best of times. And Inara is going to help us light our candle here and read this prayer on behalf of the children in the community here.
Today we light this candle to remember and honor the Indigenous children who went to residential schools. Today we wear orange shirt and we pray for the residential schools and in general survivors who are still struggling. Today we wear orange and we're thankful for those who speak truth and who are shine light on injustice. Today orange in the name of compassionate and the spirit of truth and reconciliation. Help us, God, to remember and action on this every day. Amen.
Somebody who's very near and dear to all of you, who's a fixture to this community. You may have seen him before, but if not, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Russ Quinn.
I have to say, I said earlier during rehearsal that I've spoken to this congregation on many occasions, reading the lesson, making announcements, etc. And today I'm actually going to sing you a tune that you may have heard called Blowin' in the Wind. I don't think I've ever been more nervous than I am right now. How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? Yes, and how many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many times must the cannonball flies before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years can a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? Yes, and how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? Yes, and how many times can a man turn his head, pretending he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? Yes, and how many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry? Yes, and how many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. I was so nervous that I forgot to give the preamble. And some of you may know that this tune was written by Bob Dylan. It was released in 1963 at a time that had a lot of social unrest. This is a story of lament, and it shows us that things are not so different today. Guns kill more than 40,000 people every year in the US. And this song makes me think about the senseless deaths that we've heard about, Sandy Hook Elementary, more recently Uvalde, Texas, and in Canada, Nova Scotia, where 22 people were murdered in 2020. Thank you.
Get up on your feet as if you're able. Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day.
When Jesus won.
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 He washed my sins away.
Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day.
What a way to rejoice. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to see you all. The hospitality team will now pass around the offering plates. So thank you so much. If you could keep those going. Thank you. I have just a few announcements today. The first is it is indeed Welcome Back Sunday. We're having our barbecue after this and our sign up for all the fall programs. Thank you so much to Mary Lou and the whole team of volunteers who got here very early this morning to help me set everything up, and to Rob and Tammy and their family who will be making all the food. So we're so grateful to all of them. Please join us for the barbecue after this. And if you run any programs here, or you'd like to run any programs here, please come see me. We have tables in the Great Hall. There will be name tags similar to this with all the lay ministry team names on them. So please get those, and that way, as we're mingling, we're enjoying our food, we can share and say, oh, I see you're part of this team. I'd love to learn more about it. What is this group like? What is your connection circle like? And that way we can all share about the different programs that we do, and anyone who's interested in joining them will know who to talk to. So please join us over there after this. The virtual coffee hour group will be meeting today after the service. They'll just meet about 5 minutes late, just so you can take some time if you're with us online, just to get some coffee, take a little break, but then join just 5 minutes after the service ends. That way you can all connect as well and welcome one another back for the fall. We're hiring a few members of our team, so we're looking for a new accountant and bookkeeper, and also an office admin assistant. So we're so sad to see Vilma and Eva move on to other endeavors, but if you'd like to join our team, we would love to have you. So please help spread the word about these new positions at the church, and if you're interested in applying for any of these or know someone who might be, feel free to speak to me or Beth or Sylvia in the office during the week. Thank you so much. I think Bob has an announcement now. Yes, Bob.
Thanks, Kathy. Is this on?
It will be in a moment. Try again.
I do something or I wait? Okay, I'll keep talking. I guess so. Oh, wait, here we are. Hello. Yeah, I'm here to announce a connection circle that begins a week from tomorrow. Then after one Monday break because of Thanksgiving, there'll be 8 consecutive Mondays over Zoom with Tony Peroni and I, called Grace and Dying, which is Grace and Aging, my apologies. Well, after all, we know that kind of aging is dying in slow motion, so. He's excited today. Actually, Tony Peroni last week on their live stream, you could look it up on YouTube, gave a nice announcement on it. And I think whenever I'm the one giving the announcement, she has a bit of trepidation back there. But what's this about? It's about how do we age? And on one extreme, you know, we can do it with grace, nice and smoothly, like a fine wine. Or we could age like milk and get, you know, sour and chunky. And the problem with the aging, you know, is what we've done, and Singh describes this marvelously. We've constructed this image of ourselves. We've interpreted our stories, or interpreted our experiences as stories that we carry around with us like these heavy bags. And it's a real dilemma because you can't think our way out of it, much as Western culture likes to think our way out of everything. So what do? And as you know, increasingly more and more people are looking for something like a meditative or a contemplative practice where you're told to don't just do something, sit there. Now, it's a little simple, of course, to say that because one has to have intention and behind that a real commitment. But this contemplative practice is, I would say, one of the jewels to get out of our dilemma. The second one is, where do we direct our attention? And there, the jewel is having a teacher or some wise person direct us in what to look at to understand ourselves. And this is where I think Kathleen Dowling Singh has done a marvelous job, in my view, of understanding the aging process and what's involved in that. If you want to look not too far afield, look at Richard Rohr's teachings last week, which were kind of on a topic basically related to this. On Wednesday, he talked, basically he took excerpts from her book, The Grace in Aging, and it's just a marvelous piece. And I wonder to what extent his intentionality was that it was presented on the fall equinox. So, what's the third jewel in this process? It's a spiritual community. You need some people around you to help you and to give you support. And that's really something I think that this kind of group is. I'm really blown away by the people who've signed up for this circle already, the deep wisdom and compassion so many of them have. So thanks very much.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bob. And now Tony has an announcement.
Thank you. So I'm Tony Peroni, as most of you know, and I'm the chairperson of the search committee for finding a new lead minister when Beth leaves us in the spring. Although I was thinking yesterday, are you sure you want to go back to Nova Scotia? So for those of you who may not have heard this announcement last week, I'm going to be repeating some things and I'll be adding some things. And so the next step in our search process is to construct what's called a community of faith profile, which is essentially a document that describes who we are, what we do, and other information like our demographics and our financial picture and a job description for the position that we're looking for. This gets posted on a website, a United Church website called Church Hub, where people who are looking for ministerial positions can go and search, and where we can go and search for candidates who are looking for a position. And so because this is a lead minister process, there's another question that we want to add to the mix, which is, what do we want? And what is our vision for our future here at Canadian Memorial, and who can help us then lead us toward that future? So for that, we actually would like and want input from all of you, plus the staff and the board. And so therefore, for the congregation, we're hosting 3 fireside chats in October that will be held in the fireside room from noon to approximately about 1:30. These meetings will be facilitated by Michelle Bourbeau, and they will be limited to about 20 people, partly because of COVID. We don't want people to be in an overcrowded space, but also to provide enough space for people to be able to speak and for us to listen. So therefore, this is not a drop-in. We're going to ask you please to sign up. And I goofed last week. There were supposed to be sign-up sheets in the office, and I forgot to put them out. Those sheets are there now. So we would really like to ask you to sign up for them. We also will be providing a light lunch, and so we need to know how many people who are planning to attend. So. For those of you who cannot attend these in-person meetings, we are figuring out some way to get that input from you, and you'll probably hear more about that from me probably next week or the week after. So please come. We really want to hear from you, and please sign up. The sheets are in the office. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tony. And Colleen, yes.
I'm Colleen from TAP, the Awareness Project. Aha. We're looking to expand awareness of our beloved community to all, online and in person. You'll see the TAP team later at the Center for Peace, but I'd like them to just stand up and wave right now. We have Barb Quinn over here, stand. We have Larry Butler, yay, over there. Natalie Yale, way over there. Tammy Dewar, where are you? There she is, yes. Carol Sutton sends her COVID regards. She's still struggling. Today we're asking for your help. We'd like you to think about what brought you to Canadian Memorial in the very first place. It's probably got a long story. Focus that into 1 or 2 words. What were you looking for? What was it all about? And after the service at the Center for Peace, look for TAP members at 2 flip charts. At 1 flip chart, tell us in 1 word or 2 what originally brought you here. And at the other flip chart, tell us please what keeps you coming back to Canadian Memorial. in as many single words as you wish. We just, there's so much. So live stream participants, you can play too. Put it into the chat during the coffee hour, the virtual coffee hour. Please mention that, and Maya perhaps will keep track for us. So thank you. All of these words will help us. We'll know the next step based on what you tell us. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Colleen. And Beth has one more announcement for us.
You're probably tired of announcements now, but they're good today, right? They're good. Okay, October 14th, the Samba Couver concert. It will be amazing. This is a really great chance for you to invite your friends to church without inviting them to church, right? It's like sneak them in the door. Come to the Brazilian music concert. You will not be disappointed. Spread the word. Information is readily available on our website and newsletter. And partial proceeds will go to support the refugee family that we're sponsoring. It's a don't miss situation. A couple things that aren't on my list, tech people are, we are receiving new members next week, so do speak to me if you've been kind of in the wings and are interested in learning more about that. If you have a phone, take pictures at the barbecue. Seriously, if you have a phone, take pictures. I want to record this day. And send those to info@canadianmemorial.org. And finally, it's the end of the month. We'll be compiling the birthday club names to share with you very soon. And a special shout out today to Diane Ferry's mom, Lois. Diane instituted the birthday club, and her mom turned 92 this week. So do donate to that important ministry. All right, that's got to be it. Turn to one another. Quickly, briefly, efficiently, show a sign of peace and embrace a handshake. Say peace in the chat. Let's greet each other. Peace be with you, and also with you.
Pressure fell on me.
off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. Hey, I just wanna praise you. You broke the chain so I can lift my hand. And I'm gonna praise you. I'm gonna praise you. Oh, take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I'm gonna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke the chain so I can lift my hand. And I'm gonna praise you. And I'm gonna praise you.
We continue today reading another parable in the Gospel of Luke. This one is animated and engaging and rife with ambiguity. It raises questions about how we are to approach poverty and wealth and what our responsibility is to our neighbors. It also poses a theological question. Is God's grace contingent on our doing of good deeds? As I read, you are invited to listen for what speaks to you and what challenges your beliefs. A reading from the Gospel of Luke. There was a rich man who was dressed in purple and fine linen, and who feasted sumptuously every day. And at his gate lay a poor man named Lazarus, covered with sores, who longed to satisfy his hunger with what fell from the rich man's table. Even the dogs would come and lick his sores. The poor man died and was carried away by the angels to be with Abraham. The rich man also died and was buried. In Hades, where he was being tormented, he looked up and saw Abraham far away with Lazarus by his side. He called out, "Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am in agony in these flames." But Abraham said, "Child, remember that during your lifetime you received your good things, and Lazarus in like manner evil things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in agony. Besides all this, between you and us a great chasm has been fixed, so that those who might want to pass from here to you cannot do so, and no one can cross from there to us." He said, "Then, Father, I beg you to send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers, that he may warn them, so that they will not also come into this place of torment." Abraham replied, "They have Moses and the prophets. They should listen to them." He said, "No, Father Abraham, but if someone goes to them from the dead, they will repent." He said to him, "If they do not listen to Moses and the prophets, neither will they be convinced, even if someone rises from the dead." This is the witness of God's people.
All right, so the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. In this strange turn of events, you've got the poor man with a name and the rich man without one. And you could say this is a moral of kind of story. The moral of the story is, don't be like the rich man. Moral of the story is, you'll burn in eternal damnation if you mess up in this life. Now, I have not usually been one to read the scriptures as if there was a reporter there writing it all down verbatim, so I'm not going to resort to that today. And I am going to dare to tear this apart and overturn every rock and see if we can find something here that gives us a bit more hope than mess up in this life and there's no hope for you. Unless, mind you, if you are the one person who has been motivated in your life to never make a mistake again, either because you're afraid of hell or you're afraid of what your neighbors will think, then you can tune out. but I'm looking for something for the rest of us here. So I'm going to use the good old Karl Barth approach. Karl Barth, I use it often. I really don't agree with anything he said, but I do like his whole thing of the Bible in one hand, newspaper in the other. So we're going to start today with the newspaper in one hand, and then I'm going to lay out for you some stuff from this story, and hope that you can draw the threads there together. Because parables are parables, and you don't want to ever be too certain about what you claim about them, because there's always hidden gems in there and things to trip you up. So let's start with the newspaper this week. Did you hear the one about the tax? So there's a 15% one-time tax on corporations. The Canadian government brought in for if your corporate year, when it ends in 2021, and it's coming into effect now. For corporations on their everything more than $1 billion in profit, they're going to pay 15% tax. I mean, they have 5 years to pay it. I know, it's great, right? But no one's asking, okay, so it says profit. So who decides that $1 billion corporate profit is like the mark, right? Like everything before $1 billion, just have that. Like, how do we as a society decide just how much we think we ought to share with one another? And it's not lost on me that I am part of the system and encouraged to not push too much against it and just rejoice in that 15%, because I bet that billion profit somehow trickles down to my measly little investments, right? I'm guessing. I don't know how this stuff works, but I'm guessing there's something in there. Okay. Other story in the news this week. Did you hear about the president of Colombia? So Colombia is known as like the drug capital, cocaine, right? We know all about that. So he addressed the UN, as many people did this week. And he had the nerve to sit there in front of the world and call people out, like no holds barred. So let me just share with you a bit of what he said. A cost of living crisis is raging. Trust is crumbling. Inequalities are exploding. Our planet is burning. People are hurting. We have a duty to act, and yet we're gridlocked in colossal global dysfunction. Gridlocked in colossal global dysfunction. And then, just in case we thought he was just talking to the general you, he then goes further and says, we, the global south, serve you, the global north, to serve your greed, your mistaken confusion between consumption and happiness. Called out. Called out. Did you read the one, too, just over a week ago about the founder of that clothing company, Patagonia? Yeah? Yeah, see, I'm making it more hopeful here, folks. So he's known as an eccentric rock climber turned reluctant billionaire. And so Yvonne Chouinard, 83, deciding, it's probably time to determine what I will do with my wealth. And so with his wife and adult children, decided that they would turn the company into both a trust and a not-for-profit, right? So the profits, all of them, will go to fighting climate change for the most part, but to bettering the world. So, good one. And what he said is, hopefully, this will influence a new form of capitalism that doesn't end up with a few rich people and a bunch of poor people. Called out. So those are just the news stories that have to do with money this week, right? I haven't even touched on the plight of the women and their supporters in Iran as they seek to have a voice for their own autonomy. I haven't lifted up what's happening still in Ukraine. Haven't even brought up the hurricane in my hometown, where the students at Dalhousie University created placards that said, "Climate strike canceled because of climate change." So, called out. And you know, I wish it was as simple as me standing here saying, we got a problem between rich and poor in this world. We've got a problem with how we do things, calling it out, and then all of us getting in line and saying, all right, let's just change that. Oh, but life is so much more complicated. And we have vested interests, and not all of us see the same angle or the same concerns, and we have different fears and different hopes and different values even. So where do we go with this? Especially because I'm pretty sure that calling out the bad guys has not really been the most effective way to live out the gospel for most of us, hasn't really brought about a lot of change. So let's see what else we need to add to that. So let's turn to the scriptures. And I'll let you in on an insight here that this parable of Lazarus and the rich man, it uses one of the oldest tropes in the book, you know, where the reversal of fortunes, where Lazarus is this down and out guy in life, and then in the afterlife, he has it all at the bosom of Abraham. And then you've got rich man who had it all in this life, reversal of fortune in the afterlife. Well, I was digging into this and trying to find something deeper here, something different, something fresh. And I came across this bit of midrash. That's like stories that mostly rabbis, but Jewish people tell to explain the scriptures. And so what I learned is, of course, Abraham, who's a big picture, a big character in this story, and of course, big character in the Hebrew scriptures. Abraham would have been seen as, they called him Father Abraham. So when this parable is being told, and it's being told specifically to the church, to the religious leaders, to the scribes and the Pharisees, as opposed to the other ones we've been looking at that were more to the people and the disciples, they would have seen Abraham in the story, and their immediate association is, we are the leaders in religion, we are the children, the descendants of Abraham, and any wealth that we have is because of Abraham's wealth. They also would have been of the cultural mindset that when you've got good fortune and health, God did that. And when you are down and out, unhealthy, unwealthy, God did that because you had it coming. So maybe Abraham is the most reverse character ever, because his descendants right there in the story would have been hearing it and saying, wait a minute, what is Abraham doing with this guy that had it coming? Standing up for that beggar whose fault it was, his own fault, that he ended up in the situation in life in the first place. So then you uncover a bit more, and there's midrash, there's stories that say, you know what Abraham did? It's a story about how one of the places that he came very close to God was at the Oak of Mamre, and that then he built, the midrash says he built like a castle type thing there, but there were no walls on it. And in the middle of that great castle was this table that was always filled with wine and bread and other yummy things. And the whole idea was whoever walked by was fed at the table. Just come on in, have your fill, carry on. And as people would go to leave, they would turn to say thank you to Abraham, and he would say, no, 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 look up. Thank you to God. I'm just a steward here. All that I have is for your good. And so in a sense, it turns that whole idea of blessing on its head. Even if his understanding was, well, God gave me that blessing, his full understanding was any blessing I have is to be turned over to others. So maybe it's not so much just about Lazarus and the rich man. Maybe there's some angle here of, what does it look like when we live our lives with a sense that it is our obligation to be there for one another? Not so much because we're afraid of burning in hell, but just because it's what's called for. It's just how the world works, that my well-being is tied up with yours. In the story, Abraham, the rich man calls out to Abraham, Abraham says, can't help you. I can't change anything. And the rich man keeps calling on Abraham to say, get that poor guy who's now lavishing in the good life to do stuff for me. And finally, Abraham says, like, there's a chasm. I can't fix it. But the chasm isn't like preordained by God. The chasm is what gets created because of our choices. Seems to me that chasm could have been bridged if other choices were made. Could have been bridged in life had he extended some hospitality. Could have been bridged, could have been filled in the afterlife. If he had have just seen a couple of things. One is the humanity of Lazarus, and the other thing, instead of just begging for a cup of water, of seeing that actually he too, in spite of the mess he'd made of his life, that he was welcome at the table. All of us. So here we are on Welcome Back Sunday, which in truth is something we used to do all the time. We'd always have a big kickoff day, like come back. The idea was come back from summer vacation, show up at church again, it's time. You've been on summer mode too long. Get in here, this is the day. And it has a different weight to it this year. It's as if there's kind of this hope this year that maybe church is going to get back to our new normal. Maybe we're going to start to see who it is we are in this world that's been changed and has changed us. And I want to leave you with that idea of calling out, but not so much as the way we usually call out, to just name the bad stuff. But how about a calling out ourselves for what we need, for what our neighbors need? A calling out is an invitation to actually just show up and be a people who know that we're going to make mistakes, but it's worth naming the injustice we see, and it's worth naming the possibility for hope that God calls us to. And so if I were to lay before you one more news story this day to try to buoy us up, to try to say, you know what? We can be better than our worst selves. We can do amazing things. I probably would lift up the story of the hurricane that hit my people this week. Who else has relations of some sort down east? A lot of hands out there. We're connected. You know, that stereotype, how those folks down east care for each other. It actually happens. A neighbor brought my mom hot water the day the power was out, just so she could make a cup of tea. People knocked on each other's doors and said, how are you? A lot of the people I know who've been out on the streets, when they say, go home, don't be in the streets because the trees are down, it's because they're going to help their neighbor. We have a choice each and every day. Who are we going to be? Don't worry so much about eternal hell. Don't worry about what's happening there and burning in that place. Just take it day by day, moment by moment, and make the best choice you can with what you have to serve our common good. It's the least we can do, and we don't do it for God's good graces. We do it because God's light and love have already worked through our lives. And there's nothing we can do but say yes. Let's give it a try. Amen.
Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Got my hand on the gospel plow. Wouldn't take nothing for my journey now. Keep your eyes His name is mighty sweet. One of these days we're gonna meet. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Paul and Silas were bound in jail, had no money to pay their bail. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Paul and Silas were lost. Dungeon shook and the chains came off. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Jayla, keep holding on. Only thing I did was wrong. Stayed in the wilderness far too long. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. The only thing we did was right. Was the day we started to fight. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on.
So you've had a lot of words, a lot of the pulse of the music this day. I'm just going to invite us, before we head out of here with more singing to celebrate the beauty of this day together, let's just take some time in prayer without words. So just sit in the silence, in the quiet, or in the background noise for a few moments, and let's just breathe, be present. Get our heads out of the way a bit and trust that the prayers of our hearts are held in this place by the Holy One. I'll hold you. Page 1, every place in all creation have what they need. May we be part of providing what one another needs, that our prayers might be answered. We offer these prayers in one who pointed us continually to the way of our God, the way of life and justice and love. And so let's speak those words together. Most compassionate life giver, may we honor and praise you. May we work with you to establish your new order of justice, peace, and love. Give us what we need for growth and help us through forgiving others to accept forgiveness. Strengthen us in the time of testing that we may resist all evil. For all the tenderness, strength, and the love are yours, now and forever. Amen. Let's stand as we're able and sing together. Nice to see those sneakers on the organ. Pretty fine shoes back there. What a gift to have all of you, to have this beautiful team behind me, the countless people who are making this barbecue happen today. We are more beautiful when we come together and create beauty together. And so may you this week remember that you've got something to give, that you can be part of distinguishing truth from pride, that you can be part of expressing God's holy love in this world. And so go into this day and just do your best with the next step you have. Go in the love and the embrace and the commissioning of God, creator, redeemer, and giver of life. Amen.
Somebody
everybody. Thank you.